Hi, I want to thank you all for joining Arctic IT today for the Grow Relationships and Revenue with CRM webinar. We're excited to have Brenda De La Torre, the solution consultant, presenting for us today. So with that, let's welcome Brenda.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brenda. I'm going to be leading the webinar today on growing relationships and revenue with CRM. So excited to talk to you about D365. I've been a solution consultant for almost 5 years now, and it's amazing to see how much the product has grown and changed. And honestly, this is just the start of some really exciting features. So I'm going to give you a little history on Arctic IT, and then we're going to dive into a live demo where I show you some of my favorite features within the sales portion of Dynamics 365 CRM. So I'm excited. Thank you for joining us, and I want to be respectful of everyone's time, so we're going to dive right in. We've been a Microsoft partner for over 15 years. That really says a lot. There's different revenue requirements you have to hit and key competencies that you need to hit. On the right-hand side, you see a list of our competencies, which just goes to showcase how experienced we are across different platforms. It's not just one area that we thrive in, but it's really across all different parts of the Microsoft platform. A little bit more on our experience. A term we like to use around here is that we've climbed this mountain. So what does that mean? We demonstrate working competencies in every major component of Dynamics 365, which I'm going to give a little bit more of an overview in just a second, Office 365, and Azure, the cloud piece of Microsoft. So we have deployed cloud solutions for government, commercial, and tribal clients. That means that we have experience in various industries and projects of all sizes. So let's consider this. Does your CRM need an upgrade? Do you even have a CRM environment right now? Or maybe you're just using an Excel sheet. Whatever the case may be, Dynamics 365 is such an amazing solution. And I've really seen throughout my experience consulting and helping customers is that a lot of the issues come from some of these things that we've circled right here. So siloed teams aren't working collaboratively together. It's difficult to get information from one team to another. Duplicate data, maybe the same information is in a system multiple times, right? Maybe you do have a CRM tool, but it's not helping you keep your data organized, and there's no good data validity. Manual process. I see so many clients suffering because one person is dedicated to doing such manual, tedious processes, whether it be pulling a report from Excel, sending emails one by one to clients, just having different elements of their data not make sense, right? Because no one's manually keeping it up. Insufficient tracking. Are you able to see what your team is doing on a day-to-day basis? If we look at a sales process, right? Do you have any way of pulling up how many phone calls or emails a particular salesperson has made? And then we come to security issues. This is becoming more and more predominant across every different industry, but you need your data to be secure. Can you count on that in your current system right now? Are you taking backups? How secure is your data? Can multiple people see things that they shouldn't have access to? Those kind of things. So really quick, we actually wanted to take a quick poll. So we'll stop here, and Brooke, if you want to present that poll really quick. If any of these pertain to you, please let us know. This is important feedback for me, and I'll try to answer questions or address those issues in today's webinar. And if not, we're happy to follow up as well. Oh, yeah, cool. Thank you, guys. Duplicate data and manual processes. Got it. Yeah, definitely. I'll make a point then to talk about both of those things in my demo today. All right, so before we dive into the live system, which I'm so excited to show you guys, I just wanted to talk at a high level for anyone who might be a little unfamiliar with Dynamics 365, but we call it D365 for short. It's a cloud platform. It actually is connected, your CRM, which stands for Customer Relationship Management, and your ERP capabilities. So it connects them And that's super important. We can talk about a few examples in the live demo, but it's super important as your business grows, you'll see you want a system that actually can make connections with other systems or has the ability to do many things within one system. It makes things more efficient. It helps people see the full picture of what you guys are doing, and you're able to start to analyze data better to understand, oh, this tactic worked, this tactic did not work. This is, we can cut these steps out by making this a more automated process. There's so much that can be revealed. So within D365, there's a few different applications. There's sales and customer service, finance and operations. This is a more robust version of GP that's in the cloud. And then we've got talent, marketing, and enterprise retail. And this is really scratching the surface. A common data model, which means that the data can easily connect without having to have multiple integrations. Embedded Office 365 and Power BI. If I have enough time later today, I'll potentially could show you some of these features. And then we're talking about the Microsoft Azure Cloud, which I mentioned earlier. This is secure data, such a cool, fast way to just maintain these applications now. It's very impressive. The customer engagement, transform your customer experience to grow your revenue. So some things we wanted to highlight was it's a fully integrated customer experience, which I just mentioned in the last slide. There is, with every purchase of D365, you actually get for free a sandbox environment. The reason that I wanted to highlight this is that Microsoft has been intentional, and our team is very intentional in playing around, showing you and training you in your sandbox environment, which you get for free, and then moving to production. I'm sure many of you that are on the webinar today can speak to, if you've been to part of any other implementation, there's nothing scarier than having a live environment that you've never tested. Throughout my time as being a consultant, that can be a scary thing, but you have a sandbox afforded to you, which makes the whole process and upgrades, maintaining your system so much easier to do. So that's definitely a highlight for me. Scalable, flexible monthly subscription licensing. So you gain some more teammates, you lose some more teammates. It's a flexible subscription plan. It's going to work for your team. Access on any device. What does that mean? On your mobile phone, on your tablet, on your computer, anywhere, you're able to access your environment and use the system and access the data that you need to. Of course, backed by Arctic IT expertise, right? I mentioned our expertise before, I won't get into that again. But you have a teammate, you have someone who has expertise, has experience, and is able to help walk you through this process and give you guidance in areas where you might, be a little confused or not sure which way to go. Protected by Microsoft Trusted Cloud, so that's Azure again. And then automatic software updates. That means that within the system, if you get the subscription, there are 2 yearly upgrades and enhancements that Microsoft rolls out for D365, and you're able to access them right away. For today's webinar, we're actually going to go in and do a live view of the system. We're going to talk at a high level about the sales process overview, specifically with leads, opportunities, accounts, contacts, activities. And then as we're navigating the sales process, which is one of my favorite aspects of D365, we're going to jump into the AI components of sales, which is relationship assistant and email intelligence. So excited to talk about these features. They're so cool. And I think you're going to see right away how much it's going to be able to help your team. Then if we have time at the end, of course, I want to save time for questions, but I will touch a little bit on integrations at a high level. And if I can jump in, I'll show you the connection between Outlook, email, and Dynamics 365. And if we have even a little bit more time, I might jump into Teams, which is a really cool tool, or Power BI, or at least speak to some of those components. I'm just gonna, for anyone who hasn't seen, I do want to just give a high level overview of the navigation of the system. And then we're going to jump into the actual process, okay? So when you first deploy or purchase Dynamics 365 out of the box, and you navigate to it through any browser, okay, you can use Chrome, Internet Explorer, Edge, they're all compatible. Your landing page will probably, depending on the package or licensing that you get, it's going to look something like this. So we've got a top navigation up here, okay? I like to call these breadcrumbs. You're going to notice that they change as we navigate throughout the system. And it's really just to help you understand and know where you are in the system. So you'll notice that right now it says we're at the sales dashboards, but when we dig a little bit deeper and navigate to the leads or opportunity section, you'll notice that that changes. That's really helpful for initial user adoption, just to know where you are in the system and how you got there, right? So that's the top level navigation. I'll go through a few of these icons in just a second, but while we're on navigation, on the left-hand side is the secondary, basically, form of navigation, which you guys will be heavily utilizing. So you'll see there's a home button, dashboards, which is what this landing page that we're currently on is, a dashboard. I'll talk about that in just a second. We've got some other areas we can navigate to: activities, accounts, contacts, and as you scroll down, you'll see the main areas that you'll be navigating to, the main functions. So leads, opportunities, competitors, and then we even see some marketing and other components. Now, depending on the security that you have and that you roll out, you can see different elements of this. So right now I'm logged in as what's called a system administrator, and that's a person, that's a security role that basically I have access to the entire system. I can do whatever I want to do. But depending on your team, depending on who you want to see what in your organization, that can all be adjusted. So I just want to make a point to say that, because so much of this is customizable and flexible to your business needs and what it is you're trying to achieve. So just keep that into consideration, that a lot of that is very flexible to whatever organizational needs you may have. Now on the top, we have what's called a global search. I always like to say hover to discover. No one's laughing because everyone's on mute. Hopefully everyone laughed at that. But if you hover over icons in Dynamics 365, it's actually going to tell you what that feature is. So it's another component that makes this system so user-friendly. Even if you've gone through training, right, as your team may adopt this system, you'll be able to very easily identify what the different features and functionality are if you forget. So we've got a global search. You can think of this as almost like a Google search for your system. It searches your entire system for whatever keywords you may have. We've got some other features like quick create, advanced find, filtering, which we may talk about, and some personalization settings that you can also set. In the top right-hand corner, you're going to see your name logged in. So this is a demo environment, and I'm logged in as the MOD administrator. Now, this main landing page is what we call a dashboard. It's one of my favorite features about Dynamics 365. What it does is it kind of embeds and brings together different components and different information that you want to see at a high level. So it's really good for like a leadership team or a manager to be able to come in and see all the open leads or all the open opportunities of his team. And at the same time, it could be personalized, right? So that when a single salesperson comes in, they're seeing just their open opportunities or their open leads. Or if we scroll down a little bit here, there's a section, oh, it looks like it's loading. Give it a second here. You'll see a section called My Activities, okay? This is something we're going to get a little more in depth once I'm actually on a lead, account, or opportunity form. But activities are a variety of things. It could be a phone call, an appointment, a task, an email, that they'll all show up here. And these are all tied to a specific record. What we call a record in the system is like when you go to an account or contact section, it would be a record would be like one particular person or one particular company or an account. So you tie your activities to accounts, contacts, or it could be a lead or an opportunity record to understand, hey, do I have a follow-up task? Do I have a follow-up appointment with this particular company or prospect? Or what you can do, which I'll show in a little bit later, is with your Outlook, your email, you can actually connect it to your Dynamics 365 environment, and you can promote certain email conversations that you've had with a potential customer to your Dynamics 365 environment. So all those different kinds of activities and tasks show up here, not only for you, but this is something that I mentioned before. This is something that as an executive level, you can see what your team is doing and how much interaction they've had with particular customers on a particular lead or opportunity, or support cases, any of those things. So it's very helpful at an organizational level to see how you've been fostering relationships, right? And that's what this whole entire webinar is about, is growing your relationships and growing revenue. So this is one of those features already out of the box that you already have access to information that maybe you're not currently tracking today. So I'd like to start by actually going into the sales process, okay? We're gonna go into leads opportunities, and from this, we'll understand better what accounts and contacts are, okay? So when you navigate to a particular section, you're gonna open up what is called a view, okay? Before we were on a section that was called a dashboard, and when you navigate to another section, you may still be able to see charts and graphs and stuff like that, but more commonly you're going to see something called a view. And what a view is almost looks like an Excel, if you guys are familiar with that. It's basically a list of all the leads in your system, right? Now, what's so great about Dynamics 365 is you can create basically, they're called system or personal views here, but they're pre-filtered views. So when I'm on my open leads, I see leads that I own as a user, right? But if I go to all leads, it's going to show me every lead that was ever created in the system, okay? And you can quickly create these to whatever your, business needs are. Maybe you go by quarter, or maybe there's a different criteria. You only want to see leads with an estimated revenue of more than $10,000, something like that, right? You may have different criteria that factors in, but you can actually create different leads that you're able to quickly go to navigate the system better and make it more personal to your company. Another nice feature that Dynamics 365 does, and I just think this is important to point out because it's hard to understand when you're looking at a new software what the potential is, but there's so much potential in this software to personalize it and make it your own and really help your team to adopt and use it as a business tool. A lot of these features are personalization features. So if you're logging in, right, and you're constantly, all you care about is your own views as a salesperson, you can actually pin that down. I'm not sure if you guys saw that, a little pin here. So every time you navigate to this lead section, it only opens up this particular view that you've created, right? So these are some really nice out-of-the-box features that Dynamics 365 affords. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new one, actually. So what we see here is a few different things. We've got a header section with these interactive fields where you can select, how we heard about this lead, maybe it was a trade show, what's the rating, right? Hot, warm, cold, and who the owner is, which it already defaulted to me. So we've got the header. Then we've got what's called a business process flow. What does that mean, Brenda? Well, it means that you can establish key fields or metrics of things that you want your team to collect as they're qualifying a lead, right? So in here, we see that there's a qualify, develop, propose, close. Again, all of that is, we're able to change that to meet your business needs. So when you're qualifying a lead, there are some key things that you're going to want to track. Maybe a purchase time frame, an estimated budget, right? Purchase process, identify a decision maker. You know, maybe these are just some check boxes. They're milestones that you are trying to enforce and help your team to meet as they're qualifying a lead. So really think of it as what it's called a business process flow. This is a process that your team should adopt as they're considering and working with potential customers, right? So we can kind of lead them through this process, and then we start to collect other key information about them. So we can say that this is a webinar lead. It's a work-based lead. The prospect is Brenda. She's a consultant. And there's a few different places to save, so you can do it in the top left or bottom right hand corner. Now, once I save this lead, you'll see here a few different things, right? So we've got this timelines section, which basically showcases any key things that are happening with this customer. So as you build activities against it, which may be, you might have a note, you might have a post, maybe you're going to send an email, a phone call, a task. You can enter all of those details within here. When you select email, I'll just show you guys really quick because I like this feature. It actually opens up an email prompt. So you can actually send emails from within Dynamics 365. How cool is that? So cool. You don't have to flip between two different applications. You can actually do everything from within one system, which is so awesome. Okay, so you can send your emails from here. Let me go back to, I won't send an email right now, but I will show you guys if we have some time. But you know, you can build all of your different activities, you can put them in here. The beauty of this, the reason why this is so cool is, I'm sure you guys are thinking of an example or a time when someone on your team was sick, or they left abruptly, or there was a family circumstance and they needed to take a sabbatical, or someone was like, oh, whatever the reason may be, and you're left in the dark with prospective customers. Or if current customers have been having issues, you're not sure. And I mean, if it's me personally, I don't want to go through someone's tens of hundreds of emails to figure out where we are at the status with a customer. If your team is utilizing and leveraging this tool, that relationship information is already in here. So another person can quickly pick up where they've left off to make sure that things are going well, that they don't need any more assistance, you know, or that if there is an issue, you've taken care of it. You've gotten that quote to them, or you've won that opportunity and you've placed the order successfully, right? So there's so many things that can go wrong. You don't want this to be one thing that holds you back from growing that relationship with your client. So your team can really start to build the case for this lead, this account, contact opportunity within here. So at this point, okay, when you start a lead, how Microsoft has developed this product is, you at the lead level, you're qualifying to see if this should be a contact or an account in your system. Because a lead, depending on the business and industry, you could be working directly with an individual, or you're working with an individual, but your business is actually, you know, you're going after the company. So you can address this at the company or contact level. You're able to put in those details here. So if I put in and save this, what happens is when we qualify this lead, the system is so smart, it actually automatically does some stuff for us. Once we've qualified and said, yes, I can absolutely do work with Brenda, it's going to create a contact record named Brenda with my information that I put in this lead. It's also going to create a company named Arctic IT, or whatever information you put in the company, and it's going to create an opportunity. So it automatically does those three things. Now, the idea behind it is you don't want a ton of data bogging down your system if you know for sure you can't do business with them. You may not necessarily want that in your system listed as a contact or an account. Now, if you do, maybe you have a limited like client list of people that you can really reach out to, and you're just gonna put in all that information no matter what. Within the qualify section, you can actually look up existing accounts and contacts. Now, hopefully for some of you who said that duplicate data is an issue, right? This is what helps resolve that issue. So a lead could be a starting point to qualify someone that you've never done business with before and you don't have their information until today. Or as your company is expanding and maybe going into different industries or growing, maybe you do have that account or contact information in your system, but you still want to take them through that lead qualification process. Well, instead of accidentally adding them a second time, you have this feature that looks for existing contacts and accounts in your system. That's going to prevent duplicate data from coming in. Also, in the back end, and I won't get into that today because that's pretty detailed, but there's something called duplicate detection rules that we can set up. So even by accident, if your team happened to put in Brenda Delatorre and she's an existing contact in the system, it's going to throw a duplicate detection rule and say, hey user, hey mod administrator, a pop-up's going to appear and it's going to say, I think that there's someone that already exists in the system with this first and last name. Do you want to take a quick look? So this system is that smart that it's helping you keep and maintain your data integrity. And it's also collecting a whole bunch of very useful information to help you build that relationship. It's helping your team stay organized. So let's say Brenda from, she's a webinar lead, right? We're going to go ahead and qualify this lead. And you'll actually notice that it opens right up into an opportunity. It's still the same business process flow. You'll notice that there's a check mark for qualify because we did qualify that person. And now we're in the development stage. The other thing that's so cool, I didn't mention this on the first one, is 1 minute, right? It's actually tracking how long different leads or opportunities have been opened. So within here, it actually brought over all that great information from my contact and account record. Some other cool things that it's done is it automatically said, hey, why don't you create a follow-up phone call for this opportunity? The system is leading you intuitively to do some different action items. By the way, we can set up different tasks that you want to populate, but it's giving you the day and time that it was created. Now it shows this account and contact. These are actual records in the system that we can go to. So the contact and account record, which didn't exist before the lead, now they exist in the system. So if we navigate on the left-hand side to accounts or contacts and search, they are going to show up there, okay? The topic name came over. If we had put any like email or task or phone call activities on the lead, that actually comes over to the opportunity as well in this timeline section, because it's helping us to understand what tasks and what things we've already done with that customer. Thirdly, which is so cool, any notes or activities that we put on this opportunity, right? So if I put in a phone call really quick, right, I'm not going to fill out some of these, but you get the point. You can put in notes and that kind of stuff. You'll see that this phone call appears, and now if we navigate to one of these records, you're going to see that a phone call was made as well. So it's really cool because these activities that are so key, they actually go throughout the system to what we call related records, right? So this opportunity record is related to the contact Brenda, and the account record Arctic IT. They share a relationship, right? So key activities and information, it's going to follow those accounts and contacts. This is all depending on how you set the system up, but for out of the box, this is basically how it works. Now, again, we can start to build out, hey, are there other business process or metrics or informations, milestones that we want to make sure our team is hitting before they define what kind of opportunity this is? Yeah, we can put all of those different things in here. Maybe we need to identify competitors. We'll mark that as complete. We'll identify stakeholders, those kinds of things. You'll see on the right-hand side, I became a stakeholder. But you can also add your sales team here. You can also add competitors here. This becomes really cool when you're trying to analyze, hey, how many opportunities did we lose against this particular competitor, right? You can start to build metrics like that and start to analyze, all right, we need to come in lower on this proposal, or we could come in higher on this proposal, depending on who you're going against. So if your team collects that information and maybe knows it intuitively, you can actually start to put it down in a system and start to analyze and understand at a higher level what's happening in your sales process. You can put in things like current situation, current need, solution, right? And also worth mentioning again, there's other fields or things that we can put into the system depending on the industry or what your business, some key things that they collect, information they collect, that's all able to be put into the system. So once this opportunity, you're saying yes, we can do something with them, you can either close it as won or close it as lost, okay? And depending on the next steps in your system, maybe you have this integrated with an ERP system like GP or finance and operations. You can actually, on the left-hand side, you can take it through the entire sales process. Next would be a quote that you send out to them that gets put into an order. You can win or lose, place or cancel that order. It can then go to invoicing, and that invoice, right, there could in theory be an integration with your ERP system, which really, then you start to see this full circle of how a lead became actualized revenue. So by seeing this whole process, whole system, and I'm not going to get into all these different components because it takes a little bit of time, but bear with me here. So once you walk through this whole process, you can actually start to really understand what is working and what's not working in your sales process, and all the while maintaining a strong relationship with your customers. D365, yeah, it's just a place that you're storing data, but it affords so much more than that. It's really helping your team. So one of those ways, right, is activities that we spoke about. With this connection with your Outlook or email provider, you can set up appointments from within here. You can email opportunities, contacts and accounts from within here. You can list off phone calls. You can set up reminder tasks, all kinds of different things. So that's already helping your team be a leg up. We talked about dashboards. We talked about, the automation, what already is manually happening here. There's also some things that we haven't spoken about that's probably worth mentioning, workflows. So you said a lot of people are doing things manually. Wouldn't it be nice if an opportunity, you wanted to stay up to date with it? Well, depending on your business process or different fields we put in here, we could set up a workflow that automatically lets your team know when an opportunity, the estimated close date is coming up, to make sure to follow up with them, right? So there's all these little things that we could set up in the beginning that is going to provide long-term success for your team. It's a tool that helps your team stay focused on what's really important and prioritize different customers and accounts that they're working with. So with that said, I also wanted to go back to the dashboard for a second. So now that we've walked through part of that sales automation process, right, leads, opportunities, and we talked about accounts and contacts at a high level, something that I wanted to point out was the relationship assistant, okay? Now, in the beginning of this presentation, I talked a little bit about the AI features that are automatically out of the box embedded with D365. One of the key features is called relationship assistance. So what it's doing is you can set up these little reminders, or they call them action cards, to say, hey, oh my gosh, this opportunity is closing tomorrow. I better open it and see what the status is. I need to check in on this person. So if we click that, and I'm going to try to get it to open in another tab here. Let's give it a second. What it's doing is it's actually opening up that opportunity for you to take a look at. What happens though is it takes you directly to that opportunity. So this is almost like a personal, it says relationship assistant. This is like a sales assistant tool, or really an assistant for different users in the system. There's also within this, it's not just relationship assistance that has this out of the box AI features, but there's also email intelligence that's built in. What is so cool about this, let me see if I can open this opportunity. You'll notice here it says there's an opportunity at risk. Someone sounded upset in their email. So this artificial intelligence tool is actually tracking sentiment within your emails. I mean, it just does not get cooler than that. So if I hit open up email, it opens up your Outlook. You'll see, oh, thank you so much for your feedback. I'm a bit disappointed and upset with how my customer service call went earlier. So if we want to, we can also go straight to that opportunity. I know which contact I use, so let me go directly to that so you guys can see. So relationship is actually also embedded on the contact form. These forms, I know we didn't go in depth on the contact and account form, but it's just some pretty basic or key information for accounts and contacts. You're collecting their name. You'll also see activities that are tied right to this particular contact. And if you connect those emails, you'll actually see the body of the email within here. And you'll notice that with the email intelligence, right, it said, hey, wow, this customer sounds angry. And you can tell that within the email, the customer is angry, right? These are all test emails that I created, but it's reading the sentiment of that particular customer and saying, hey, I think you need to address this. Make sure that you respond to this person. Now, it's so much more than that, the relationship assistant. There's a lot of different features tied to this that you can set basically parameters around emails, around opportunities if they're exceed a certain size, all these different things that you can set up that Arctic IT can help you set up as well, that really help your team stay on track and stay focused, right? This totally helps people prioritize urgent needs. There's so much going on in a day. Your sales team, even as a sales manager, I'm sure across your organization, really, there's so many tasks and things. You just don't want critical things to accidentally get missed. And so this embedded intelligence, this AI, helps you keep your relationships good with all of your customers. So it's such a cool feature. And again, it's out of the box. This is free. This is not another add-on that you have to purchase. So D365 is really giving you so many great tools to be successful. So these are just some things that I wanted to highlight. And I know this was a lot of information. It was a lot to go over in a short amount of time. But if anybody's interested in learning more about some of these specific features, I'm also happy to send some documentation, or we could have another specific webinar just on the relationship assistance or some AI features that come out of the box within D365. Now, before we go to questions, I also at a high level wanted to talk a little bit more about the Outlook connection with D365. And I will, if you guys are interested, I can jump into a Teams example really quick too. So this is Outlook Online. You can also have a local version of this on your computer. Both of them work in a very similar fashion. But what happens is within an email, you can actually connect it to Dynamics 365. and I'll show you what that looks like. So say that this was an important, this is actually the email we just saw that was embedded here within our Dynamics 365 environment. But say that you're working from Outlook, right? And you notice that you're having some issues with a particular customer, you can actually go ahead and track an email from within your Outlook environment. You can promote it so that it shows up in the activity section of a contact, an account, an opportunity, or a lead record. So that's really the power here. I know that within every team, there's going to be people that are really Outlook savvy. Maybe they don't like change. Maybe they don't need to be in Dynamics 365 that much. But I'm sure that there's some conversations that'll be key or critical that you'll want the team to be aware of and have that promoted to D365 for some of those reasons I stated earlier, right? If someone has to take some time off, if someone was let go, if someone leaves for another company, it's so great to have those transactional records to see, oh, this person was actually interested in one of our services. Oh, this person was having an issue with one of our services, and this, our employee didn't follow up. Well, now you're going to have that visibility. And again, with things like that AI, that embedded intelligence, someone's going to be alert to see like, oh, someone was upset, someone was really happy, right? As well. So a lot of these things are connected, and I won't go into this Teams. I don't think we have enough time to showcase that, but I just wanted you guys to know really the reason I wanted to show Outlook and some other features is the integration with other Microsoft products is so amazing. The collaboration that you get, and I'm not just talking about this because I think it's exciting. We actually internally utilize all of these features that I'm talking about. We utilize Teams, we utilize Outlook. Power BI was something else I mentioned, and maybe later on we'll have another webinar about the reporting possibilities there. But it's connected to this super powerful suite of applications. So even if there's something, maybe Dynamics 365 CRM, maybe it missed the mark. Maybe you need way more intense reporting than this. Well, guess what? There's a tool called Power BI that is even more advanced that connects to your system for free. Maybe your team is working specifically out of Outlook, right? Or maybe your team is collaborating with something like Skype today. Well, all of that can actually be embedded with Teams. There's a high level of collaboration. So the possibility with this tool is really endless. They've added so many great features to it. And I just think that it's so amazing. I feel privileged really to be able to work on this and help people with their business process needs, especially with the AI features that they're rolling out, like relationship assistance, and there's some other features that I can send a follow-up email on. But some really cool things here to help your team stay focused, to increase and better your relationships with your clients. And ultimately, all of those things, that's going to increase your revenue. You're going to be able to determine maybe some things that you're not doing as efficiently as you could. Maybe your team needs help, juggling those relationships. Well, these tools are already available in this solution. So it's going to help you build those relationships. It's going to help you in turn grow your revenue as well. And I'll stop presenting here. I know we have one or two more slides, so let me get to that.
I have one question if you'd like to answer that one, Brenda.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I really liked how you can send an email right from the CRM system. Can you show us how to set up an appointment from the CRM as well?
Oh, sure. Let me jump back in. So basically there is like a little connector. There's a few different ways. I won't get into like how you can set this all up, but let me jump back to that contact I was in. And it's actually just as simple as the phone call. So permitted that you have everything set up correctly as far as your Outlook and your Dynamics environment. You would just select appointment, and then this quick create appointment is going to pop up, right? And we're going to say test appointment. And you can put the start time and end time. Let's see here. we'll do, yeah, let's do 4 to 4:30. Perfect. And so if I save and close this, what should happen, and this I do, bear with me here because I may not have set this up with an Outlook, but we'll save it. You're going to see it here. Okay, you're going to see the appointment here. And if you go to your dashboard and have like a list of tasks, we should also see that within this section. So we'll definitely see it within CRM. But if you have your calendar set up, let's see here, it may need to refresh. I know it takes a little bit of time. Yeah, it didn't pop up here yet. But what should happen is it actually should integrate with your Outlook calendar as well. It may take like a minute or two to actually sync up. Basically what's happening on the back end is it's taking that information and it pushes it to your Outlook calendar every however many minutes. Any other questions before I?
No, I think you can go back to the PowerPoint slide. I was just going to say, if anybody does have any more questions, please feel free to type them in that questions pane. And if we aren't able to finish answering them right now, we can definitely follow up afterwards.
Awesome. And so to sum up, I know I talked about return of investment, but to actually put our money where our mouth is, right? Microsoft Dynamics 365 delivers an average of $17, let's round up here, $16.97 for every dollar spent by the companies who use it. So that's a lot higher than the average for both ERP and CRM. So there's so much value here, and I hope that I've shown you guys some features that I've personally used and really love and encourage all my clients to use. But there's analysis here to show, yeah, this actually can help you. It provides that much return of investment back to your business. It's helping your team, it's helping your customers, all the while you're growing revenue because you're more efficiently doing things and prioritizing your time in the right way. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your busy days. I'm really pleased to do this, so we really appreciate your time. And if you do have any other questions or concerns, please reach out.
Thank you all for coming today. We'll let you take on the rest of your day. Have a nice day.